Good morning, Indianapolis. Good morning, Marion County. Good morning. Hey, this is Bob, and we're going to talk a little bit about immigration, the immigration law out of Arizona. Um, on April 23rd of 2010, Arizona Governor Jan Brewer signed into law Senate Bill 1070. That gave the police, the law enforcement officers, the right to basically racial profile. Wow. What is our country coming to? That goes to tell you there are probably people there in that state that are not all attorneys who are in public office making laws they know nothing about the Constitution. Or they don't care about the Constitution, they just want to throw it out the window. And these conservatives, and I have nothing against conservative people, but these conservatives want to talk about the liberals and the Democrats, and there are some liberal Republicans out there too. And you want to talk about them when you conservatives are acting liberal. And what I mean by that is that you're throwing the United States Constitution out the window. Hello? My God. I don't understand. You guys are so conservative that you're willing to throw out the Constitution. I mean, in the state of Indiana, we don't even know if there is racial profiling that goes on all the time. And it's gone on for many years. Racial profiling has gone on for many years with the African American communities. But they actually stood up against it and fought for years and many, many decades for freedom. And finally, they got the right to vote. There are stupid laws on the book in Indiana still. There are laws that were on the books that were stupid, that were made by people that make the laws, that were in the House, in the State House in Indiana, or the Senate in Indiana. And those people are not lawyers. They're just ordinary people making laws, and they're not even lawyers. They don't even know the Constitution, and they don't, and I'm talking about U.S. Constitution, and they don't know what the Indiana Constitution is. When you make a law, you got to know if it violates someone else's rights. But they don't care. They could care less because they haven't been caught. These people need to be locked up and be made felons for violating rules and regulations and laws that are supposed to protect me and other people like myself and we the people. I went to prison back in 1989, my first time ever being locked up. I didn't get offered a plea agreement. I didn't want one. I didn't want one because I was innocent. And I took my trial. I wanted to go to a trial with 12 people, 6 people, 12 people, whatever it is. But I was going through a lot, and I was distraught. I was distraught because, A, it was my first time being locked up. I was in an environment I knew nothing about. I was I was a good kid. Never been in trouble in my entire life until right then and there. I tried to protect a baby after I found out that someone forged a check. But nobody cared about my rights. No one cared. I don't, people said, that I shouldn't even went to prison for my first crime ever. That crime was in 1989. And still today, I hear about it. Every time I run for political office, it comes up. All the time. When will it end? Will it ever? It will only end when you, the people, speak and say that non-violent offenders need to have their rights restored. And then we will work on the other offenders. Because I believe everybody can be rehabilitated. I have met people, many people that are in prison that have actually done bad things. But you know what? They've changed. They don't have to go to church. They don't have to do half the things that they do. They do it because they want rehabilitated. Not because the prison told them to do so, but because their own heart spoke to them and said, this is what I want. And some of those people are still in prison today. And you know what? They deserve a second chance. I committed a crime 22 years ago. Yes. But no. I allowed the courts to believe that I did. But when they said they were going to help me out, because they found out that I didn't really do this. I remember a lady that was a bailiff, she said, you need to tell the judge. I didn't trust anybody at the time. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know them. I wasn't used to the system. I didn't know who to trust. And you know what happened? I went to prison. And the guy that ended up killing his baby, because I told the police to get that baby out of the house and they didn't listen to me, he got 5 years. He only had to do 2.5 years in prison. I got 2 years, do a year for my first time. And that guy had a felony. Couldn't find, he had a couple felonies or something. Or helped other people get felonies, I don't know. Can't remember. But I know that he did kill his child. And people told me they would help me, and they let me down. I was 23 years old. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I was abused. I was used and I was abused. And then I was thrown in the trash. By who? And let down by who? I was let down by our government, by the courts, by the people that were supposed to protect my rights too. Sent off to prison. To a place I didn't know, didn't want to know, wasn't used to, and my life changed drastically. Drastically. When I got out, I told myself that I was never going to do this again. I was never coming back to prison. Who would think that in 2006 I would be a reoffender? I was a reoffender because my brother used my business name and him and his girlfriend created checks and was cashing them all over town and all over Greenfield and all over Indianapolis. And they had my mother sign the checks. I didn't want my mom to go to prison. So I went to the police department and I told them that I'm the one that signed those checks. My brother, and then I left town because I had to go somewhere to take a friend. I had to take him somewhere, and I told the police, please contact me if you decide you want to arrest me. They didn't do that. They came looking for me, guns drawn. I wasn't in Indianapolis. I was in Illinois. I wasn't hanging out with the Democrats then where they are today. But I was in the same place. I was in Moline, Illinois. And basically, you know, I went back to prison. Because I didn't want my mom to go to prison. My mom, she's 70 years old now. And I promised my grandma that I would make sure that my mom was okay and that she would not go to prison. Well, these prosecutors told my aunt that they had a great place for my mom to go. And that, don't worry, you know, it's a really good place, and they have nursing home there too. They were talking about the Indiana Women's Prison. I didn't want that for my mom. My brother didn't care. He threw me under the bus. And he'll admit today that they threw me under the bus. That I was not what I was accused of. I was accused of being the person that was the, whatever you call it, the brains of the, I'm not saying I don't have a brain, but I was the brains of all this. And that's not the case. I didn't live there. I never went hardly to my brother's, to my mom's house. I very seldom ever got over there. But I would call my mom and talk to her and stuff, but I love my mom. And I didn't want my mom to go to prison. So I took it upon myself to tell Marion County and the other place that I committed these crimes. And I was carted back from Moline, and I was convicted. I was given a plea bargain. No one cared if I was innocent or guilty. They just gave me a plea bargain. And then the other county, they violated my rights. I asked for a fast and speedy trial. They denied it. They missed my omnibus date. They say that I gave up my rights when I didn't. Then they actually kept me in prison an extra year after I was sentenced. They kept me an additional year than what they were supposed to. And then I decided to run for Congress when I was on parole. And then I ran for mayor. But you know what? Folks, I would have made a great mayor. You can trust me. I would not lie. I would not lie to you.